Talking about when I was a student is difficult because it's like a little bit long time ago for me. But well, I had my parents are musicians, so I started the guitar with my father. Then later on, I was in a regional conservatory in Paris, which means I was going at normal school only in the morning, and the afternoon were free, so I could practice. Age 16, I entered the National Conservatorium. And yeah, I graduated when I was 20 from classical guitar performance. I also studied chamber music and other musical topics later. Of course, as a teacher, I use a lot of my experience, of remembering when I was a student. But I think beside the pedagogical parts, like remembering how I built my technique, how I was practicing, and what repertoire I played and in which order I learned everything on guitar. I think the feeling of being a student is something important to remember as professionals, especially when we are teaching young musicians, as I do in Amsterdam, because it's a moment where the life of a musician is never something straight. More or less everyone is creating in his own path, and when you are very young, like you are in the bachelor, for example, or licence, what we say in French, age, I don't know, 18, 19, you have absolutely no clue where you will be in 10 years. You don't know. So there is this thing that is unexpected, but it is it feared me when I was a student, but also it excited me, because it's like I can invent my own artistry and my own life with guitar. There is this ambivalent feeling with this unpredictable thing about how is going to be the life of a musician. And I think that I remember it quite well of when I was like 20 or so, even younger. And from a psychological part, this is what I try to take into consideration when I not only teach but exchange with younger students. Yeah, so my experience in chamber music is, how to say, there are a lot of things to say. First, I was mainly a soloist. Until being, I think, 23 or 24, I was playing only solo concerts, sometimes chamber music, but very rarely. Then I created with friends the Quatuor Eclisse, the classical guitar quartet, where I make a lot of arrangements. But I mean, that's still in the classical guitar field. From chamber music, I mean, it happened little by little that people start to ask me to play with them. Usually it was with friends that I met at the conservatorium in Paris when I was a student, and we were talking to each other like, oh, okay, let's play together, there is this opportunity, this concert, let's make it together. I would say, in my experience, it happened mostly with friends. Like it never really happened that I had to do chamber music. It was mostly for my pleasure, and little by little this took more importance in my artistic life. And today I made 8 CDs, and 6 CDs are chamber music. So yeah, it shows how important chamber music is in my life, also not only as an interpret but also as an arranger. And I'm very happy to have there and there projects with other musicians. I must say that I'm quite happy and quite lucky to play with very talented French musicians. Well, it's difficult to talk about contemporary music without defining what's contemporary music, and I have difficulties myself how to describe what it is. For many people, contemporary music is like atonal, crazy stuffs, and for other people, it is music that is written today. So I can just talk about my own experience, and I am actually I have worked already with quite some composers. Usually people that I met, always that I knew. I have actually a crazy project now to record. I mean, I recorded already, but to release an album with only pieces written for me in the last 10 years. And well, I can. It's difficult to talk about it because there are different opinions with many people. I have, of course, my own opinions about, you know, what's the right direction in for contemporary music and aesthetic. But let's say that I don't think it is so interesting. I just think that since I was born, or since I'm a musician, or since I am aware of those things, I always hear like an opposition between what is atonal contemporary and what is tonal. So we always, let's say, separate those two words. And even when you go to concerts like contemporary music festivals, you will have usually these avant-garde stuffs and more tonal composers, or I don't know, movie music, or things that will, let's say, talk to a wider audience is actually very separated. And I think today it's very difficult to, to be a composer, I think, because it's not like in the 19th century or beginning of 20th century where, you know, depending where you are from or where you live, you are part of an aesthetic, right? And today you can be, I don't know, you can be born in Argentina and compose in the style of I don't know, very contemporary, and you can be living in Germany, and so it's very difficult to talk. It's a word that is just too wide, and let's say that on my own taste I like to play more tonal music, and the composers I worked with were usually people that I met before, that I had opinions in common. Like the last piece that I premiered was a sonata by Jules Maton, and well, it's usually people that were like all my friends before, or that I met in a more or less professional context, let's say. So that this is the view I have on contemporary music in general, like when there is a collaboration between an artist and a composer, musician and composer. I think it's nice when those two people know each other and want to work together. Yeah, about the guitar making, well, there's a lot to say, of course. I'm going to talk only about the classical guitar. I won't talk about historical instruments like romantic guitar or other things. I divide actually in three categories. There is the traditional, like Spanish making. We have the sort of like modern or double top, and we have the lattice, which is this Australian heavy, loud instruments. As a musician myself, as a, let's say, concert artist, which means I have to play on stage for people, and somehow we are like, I have to entertain people. It's for me difficult to feel at my ease with traditional instruments, not because of the sound, because the traditional instruments has a lot of quality, but just because it's difficult for me to get enough contrast in terms of nuances and type of sounds that I can create with more modern instruments that has wider possibilities about it, at least about the power of the instrument, and it's just an easier tool for me to play. For years I played on Greg Smallman, which is I still play when I play chamber music. If I play, for example, this summer, I will play Boccherini Quintet. I'll play with the Smallman. When I play with mezzo-soprano Marina Fiotti, I play with Smallman. But nowadays I like to play a double top guitar. It's a spruce actually, not even cedar. I like the Smallman. Yeah, I must say that for myself, I like to have an instrument that is powerful, because I can, of course, play loud, but I can also play very, very piano on it with a good projection, which is for me an important quality. Let's say that I understand very much this idea of having the original sounds of the traditional instruments, which I am also very sensitive of. But in my context, playing for more or less wide audience, I like to have a powerful instrument. I think everybody has different taste, everybody has different ideas, and should follow what you really like. And of course, for any type of guitar, you have good instruments and bad instruments, right? So you can have a very great traditional instrument and a terrible lattice, for example, and then you should play on good guitars that are easy to play. And also, yes, I forgot to mention that the fact that the guitar is easy to play is an important factor for me to choose an instrument. Actually, I don't really have an answer about it, because I don't really have the feeling that I tried to build an international career. But based on my observations, I can say that I don't know, there is a special feeling when you are a young student, which is like, I want to play. I really want to play. I want to practice. I want to show off. I want to go there and play, and I want to play for public. And there is the fact to be eager to play, I think, is the most important factor to build an international career. Don't do it for your fame. You do it for your passion. Well, at least this is my opinion. Then probably people have different opinions about it. In terms of strategy, it's difficult also to reply, because I think it depends. I mean, who you are and what you expect from your career. For myself, when I was very young, before I started to play any concerts, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how I could take my guitar and play for public. I didn't know where to find public, where to find concerts, how this works. So I took, at the same time, the most simple option, but the hardest, which is to go into international competitions and having big prizes. And I've been, I think, lucky to arrive at a moment where, I was playing good, I was motivated, and I made few competitions, and it worked out well for me, and it was the start. This is how I built my biography and how I got my first concerts. I don't know if that's the best way. Today, when I look, I have my students in Amsterdam. When they ask me, like, how do you build an international career, I tell them, practice and propose your program and go out, talk with people. I don't tell them go into the international competitions, because I think it's just so difficult. Even though that's something that students should do, I think, to prepare and to go and to invest time and money to go there and do their best to play at each round. Yeah, I have more the feeling that I was, let's say, I had the motivation to work the classical guitar the whole day, and I would put just all my heart in any project that I was involved. And if I would give only one advice, it's this, like, even if it's a project that you think it's not so important, a concert that is not so nice, just do it with your whole heart and involve 100%. Because based on my experience, sometimes you play a very little gig, the little thing, and you think it's not an important thing, and sometimes you have someone in the public who is there that day and who discovers you at your best, even you would believe it is not an important venue. So each concert is important, and in my case there were some very small concerts that gave me a lot of opportunities. Okay, well, I think first it's important to analyze where the guitar is in classical music history. We were always a bit on the side. But the guitar has always been a very popular instrument. I feel actually that today the guitar is becoming more and more popular because we see big labels signing guitarists now. I mean, just in France we have Thibaut Garcia with Warner, we have now Raphaël Foyat with Deutsche Grammophon. There is of course Sony with Thibaut Covin, for example. There's also I mean, like there are more and more young guitarists signing for very big labels. I think the guitar, how to say, is always an instrument that is on the side, and we should accept that, right? I don't say that it doesn't have its place on big venues. I think it has its place on big venues, but I think that we are not so much to complain, because we've got lots of festivals, we've got also lots of nice music that we can play. We can play music from every period, and also we are a very cheap instrument to invite, because you just need a chair, right? You don't need, like, for example, if you play the harp, you know, you have to take your harp with you. It's more complicated to organize, and there are not many harp recitals, for example, or oboe recitals, or I think the guitar is actually quite well represented, even though we always want more, of course. I feel actually that, to be honest, I was a little bit more pessimist like 15 years ago, but today I feel that the guitar is there, is becoming more and more popular. And not only for its Spanish repertoire, but in general. I think now the guitar is taking again a very good place in the music scene, but of course it will never be like the piano or the violin or cello. We have to do our best, right? Actually, a lot of things are now moving again. After the COVID, everything was a little bit more chill, let's say, but now actually it's time for me to come back on the road and play concerts. There is always my guitar quartet. We have still always many projects together. We play 10 years together, so we play in different festivals during the summer. There is my new project with Marina Viotti. We play already, what, 2-3 years together. We met just before lockdown, and I arranged a whole CD that's released like 4 days ago or something like this. At the moment we are making this interview. It's a CD with French and Spanish music that I all arranged, and this we have quite many concerts in not only in the guitar but also in more general music festivals. And while I also play there and there chamber music project. I played this summer maybe 2 or 3 times with cello, for example, with different cellists. And well, always my solo career. So I have now, I will go at the GF8 convention this year. I will play a recital there, and I have a tour in USA in November. So yeah, quite a lot of nice projects coming up, and not so much time to enjoy the nice sun that I see today in Italy, unfortunately.